Hello guys, my name is Amy and welcome to the latest highlight video for the F1 KL League races. This one is Russia. Interesting track. Don't think I've ever raced this track. In hindsight, may have been helpful doing a bit more practice. It's not that bad a track. It's quite open. You've got like Monaco that's quite narrow. Then I think you've got Singapore, it's a little bit wider. And then I think this is a little bit wider than Singapore. Still got quite a few barriers though. So we'll see how that goes. The problem is this is the first league race on the new game. So multiplayer is still a little bit buggy. So we'll see how we get on. It's one of them, it's a new track. I don't intend to finish very high, if finish at all, because like I said, it's a bit buggy. Something may happen, something may go wrong, and I might not be able to carry on. But anyway, into qualifying, i.e. my practice. On to my first timed lap then, and my out lap, I've basically come to the conclusion it's a lot like Abu Dhabi. It's quite open. You've still got a few barriers, so it's not fully, out of the way of potential collisions with wall. You know how that goes with me. So anyway, as this is my second ever lap on this race, I think I did quite well. Me being me, I try and stick to the racing line as best as possible, hitting the braking points wherever I can. I've not changed my difficulty at all since the other game, so a lot of the assists are still the same. So things like low braking assist, ABS, traction control, automatic gears. Obviously being a league race, we don't have pit assist still. So coming into the pits may become a problem later on. Obviously because this is a practice / qualifying, this being my fastest out of the 3 laps, because you've got your out lap, your fast lap and then your in lap. I basically use this as a mini practice session, so it's a thing of come over the line, P6 and P7 now, but I've still got 9 minutes left. So at the end of this lap I do come in, purely to practice my pit stops. Like I said, I haven't had any practice on this. I've obviously seen the pit lane, because obviously I've gone past it a couple of times, so I know where it is. It's just a case of attempting to come in without a penalty basically. But at the moment we're going down again. We're now P8. I know I've got a green sector 1, but it's one of them. I intend on coming in for basically a practice stop, so I will be abandoning this lap a little bit later on then, and I do come in, I swap tyres and I go straight back out, mainly to make the most of the short qualifying session we have. Obviously I come out P9 at this point, just behind Liam. P10 is Toppy on the wets. Not quite sure why he went wets, because it's clearly dry. But anyway, we've got just over 4 minutes left, so we should be able to get a couple of laps in, and potentially improve our time. If I don't improve my time, then something may be wrong, because obviously the first time lap was my first ever timed lap, but we've got a green sector 1, so that's always nice. Obviously I've done this now a couple of laps, so I'm getting a bit of a feel for the track, seeing where all these sausage curbs are, where the runoff areas are. The unfortunate thing is we are currently on regular corner cutting, so a lot of people will potentially go faster because they can run wide. Now I am used to sticking to the racing line, so I stay and stick to the racing line. I'm not one of these that try and bend the rules or basically exploit them. So a lot of people, like this corner, will go wide, potentially onto the black, so they can get a decent run. As you can see, a good second off of that lap, but I am still P9. So I improved my time, but not necessarily my position. But as long as I've improved my time, that's all I'm bothered about. Qualifying complete then, and yet we are P9. A lot of people didn't set times, and Toppy ended up going backwards at some point, so he got disqualified and will potentially start at the back according to that. So unfortunately, out of the timed people, we do end up last. Not particularly far off Liam, I'd say, but obviously he was on mediums. On to strategy then, and bit interesting regarding this game, because obviously now things are a little different regarding fuel. So we won't be using like the rich mix, so quite a bit of fuel comes out. I stick on the soft to mediums. I cannot for the life of me remember at this point what Liam does, but the soft to mediums always seem like the better option for me, just purely so that I can potentially keep up. So, formation lap out the way and done with. 5 lights are out. They seem to hang quite a while. I get a little bit of a slow start as per usual. It's a case of, I know there's going to be carnage into turn 1. There always is. So yeah, it's like proximity errors everywhere. I keep out the way of everybody, I don't get any damage there, so that's always nice. Liam has a little bit of a tiff regarding Toppy in the background in my rearview mirror. I brake here purely because I do not want to get caught up in anything, and obviously a few people going wide there. So turn 1 has been successful. I managed to get a really good line down the inside here on Highbury. Managed to close off pretty well. I'd say that's probably one of my best moves. Unfortunately, Hugo is facing the wrong way, so he's having a bit of a mare on lap 1 as well. A quick thing regarding Highbury, he is in an Aston Martin for this race. It's because we're on the new game. His points will be for Racing Point when the points come out, so don't get confused there. But yeah, shenanigans on lap 1 as per usual. And Liam has retired. Now, like I mentioned at the beginning, unfortunately this game is a little bit buggy still, and Liam is on wheel. So I believe he has input lag, so he's turned the steering wheel and the game's not processed it quick enough, and basically the car's carried on when he was steering in real life. So unfortunately Liam is out of the race, so it is all down to me. Highbury is also in the pits. I'm not quite sure what happened regarding that. Hugo also in the pits, so they must have had a bit of a coming together behind. Obviously Hugo faced backwards at some point, so he must have got damage from that. Coming out of the virtual safety car, thought about going for this guy and thought not, but on the left hand side Zach loses it and goes into the wall as well. I believe he is also on wheel, and basically he had the same problem as Liam, which wouldn't surprise me with how he went into that wall. It was a thing of, I don't think understeer would have been the thing. Zach's not normally the one to do that kind of error, so personally I'd say that was his end of the game, and unfortunately things went a little wrong. So yes, lap 2, we're end of lap 2 almost, and yeah, we're down to 11 people. Somehow I've managed to get round all the incidents and other little bits of shenanigans, and yeah, it's a case of Yav comes into the pits and we're P7 as we go into lap 3. Halfway round lap 4 then, and Highbury has retired by what looks like he's gone into a wall near the roundabout, what I would class as the roundabout. It's not roundabout because the Sochi track is round the Olympic Park basically of Russia, so it's going round a particular stadium, but still sort of a roundabout. But I'm not sure on what happens, so unfortunately Highbury becomes another casualty of this race. So we're down to 10 people. I am P8, so if I could finish this race, we're guaranteed some points. So on lap 6 then, we are currently P8 on our little lonesome, because Dioptric's gone, and Oscar has retired on the other side of what I call the roundabout. Now, I believe he may have also had a bit of a glitch, because there's no way you go into that wall, because obviously you just gone past him on the right hand side. He potentially has lagged as well. That's about the only explanation to that particular retirement. I'm not 100% sure, I wasn't in Discord, but that does make us P7 out of 9. So seems as though the first league race on the new F1 2021 game is a bit of an interesting one. Not as interesting as real life Hungary that has just been. Not quite 9 people left by lap 6, but not far off. So yeah, anybody think the real life race was a league race at this point with how many people are retiring? I'm very much doubt that we have red flags in this game though. I don't know how you'd force a red flag. Be interesting to see. But we've had that many retirements. We're now down to 9 people left. So worst case scenario, 2 points if we finish. I know worst case scenario would be completely not finishing. But yeah, all wheels on the track and at least 2 points. But at the minute, P6, so a few more than that. Scratch that. 8 people left. Unfortunately, Hugo has retired. What looks like to be on the pit straight. I don't know. I believe actually he comes into the pits to retire. So maybe not a laggy, glitchy game reasoning for that. He just pulled into the pits and retired, but unfortunately that's another one. So P6 of 8. There's going to be hardly anybody left and we're only on lap 7. Lap 10 then, and we're coming in for our pit stop. Now, interesting pit lane, quite easy overshoot, but I do manage to slow down in time. Not horrendously slow like previous races. I think Hungary, I did the entire entry, not just up to the line on pit limiter, but we do drop down to 7th. There is only 8 people in, but we intend to go all the way on these mediums, so hopefully not going to be a bad race. Just about halfway through, so I guess we'll just see what happens. I'm in sort of the middle of nowhere on my own. Okay, I do have Storm catching me up a little bit in the background. He's only about 5 or 6 seconds behind, so more than likely he'll catch up. But least we can get is okay. Oh, Oscar's left. That's okay. He's already DNF, so I guess he didn't want to sit around and watch. But like I said, the worst we can get is P8. So onwards and upwards, I guess, as long as we can stay on track, not necessarily in the contention for a lot of points, but at least we'll get some. Lap 14 then, as predicted, we got overtook by Storm. Dioptric also pitted, so that's why he's behind, but unfortunately I get a little bit too close to that sausage curb and have horrendous problems trying to do a 12-point turn. Luckily Dioptric hangs back. I was ghosted, so why he didn't go through I do not know. But yeah, unfortunately I do get a bit of wing damage. Now, a couple of races ago I did get a bit of wing damage, and it didn't seem to... Oh, Dioptrix come into the pits and retired. Oh, interesting. Okay, so we're now P7 out of 7. Unfortunate, but hey, seem to be dropping like flies. I've only got like 12-13 laps, but anyway, a couple of races ago I did get a bit of wing damage, and I managed to basically drive through it. Unfortunately, it does not do it this time. I do have to come in for a change of front wing. Now, it does mean going on to some different tyres, and I go on to another set of mediums. Now, it's a bit unfortunate, it really is, but can't be helped. I knew them sausage curbs were going to get me at some point, so yeah, it's unfortunate, but the thing is, I'm P7 out of 7, and like I said, it's a case of just try and get to the end of this race because of how many people have dropped out. I really make sure I go around that sausage curb that time. I am not falling victim to it again. So yeah, we do come into the pits. Obviously I don't tell Jeff I'm coming in, or something, but I managed to come in without getting a penalty, which is interesting, knowing that I didn't have my blue line on and I didn't know where my braking point was. But yes, we get a new front wing onto a different set of mediums, back out, and yeah, we will still be P7, but we'll be sort of in a race of our own, because obviously the person in front is like 30 seconds ahead. There's a few people that are going to be coming past me on the pit exit. It's a case of they'll be lapping me, so I'm not going to worry about them too much, because I ghost. We put ghosting on for when you're a back marker, so they'll just go through me whenever they catch up. So yes, lap 16 and P7 still. And like that, I have been caught up by the guys at the front. He does go a bit wide, being on regular, that is okay. Big crash. Not quite sure what happened there. I went into the wall on the left hand side, bounced and came back, and debris everywhere. So we're into a virtual safety car, and I'm surprised it's not a full safety car. I'm pretty sure that would be a full safety car in real life with the amount of debris everywhere. But as I was saying before he ended up on, in the wall, we are running regular corner cutting, so unfortunately that track extend he did, basically everybody's doing that. So unfortunately it's probably why I'm a bit slower than the rest. I am trying to stick to the rules, in other words, and everyone else is exploiting them So yeah, it's unfortunate that we've got a virtual safety car. For some reason it does still say there's only 7 out of 7. It's clearly only 6 of us. I guess that'll change when I catch up. So yeah, virtual safety car finishing, DRS back, not that I've been able to use it. And yeah, lap 17, so got 10-11 laps to go, and we're P6. Lap 18 then, we are still P6, but Storm in front has DNF'd. Not quite sure what happened. On the little mini map, he's stopped on a little bit of a straight. There was also a Ferrari with him, so unless there was a bit of a kerfuffle between the two, I don't know. But it has brought out a full safety car. So as we go on to lap 19, there's only 5 people left. So it's definitely a thing of, you know, survive and you'll get some good points. I'm bitting and bobbing through the Delta, as you can probably tell. It's a case of I'm never very good with deltas, hence why I slam my anchors on quite a lot of the time. This delta doesn't seem to be very good, not gonna lie. There's areas where it'll go like really high, and then areas that'll go really low. But anyway, Yav in front comes in to the pits, so I'm guessing that's the Ferrari that ended up potentially causing damage, or well, terminal damage potentially to Storm, because the other Ferrari is already out. That was Oscar, or Fridge, more commonly known. So yeah, it's a case of, unfortunately, we kind of misjudge our Delta somewhat, and get a drive through.
Okay, slow down.
For some reason I wasn't looking. It's not a case of, you know, a little bit over, I just carry on. So unfortunately we are P5, but we do now have a drive through. Now unfortunately, the field's a little bit all over the place. My Delta goes and then comes back. I'm guessing that's because the safety car thought it picked up first place and then doesn't, because the safety car is obviously the yellow dot that we're about to come up to. So that just goes to show how far, there's the safety car, look. That goes to show how far behind we really are. It picks up the leaders now that we're just about to catch up with me, so I'm pretty much a whole lap ahead of the safety car. But the thing is, at this point, bit of confusion whether I can do a drive through during the safety car. Now, to cut a long story short and not bore you guys, basically Yav comes in to do another pit stop. He serves one of his time penalties. Obviously he must have got another one as he's coming to the pits, because as it came up with pit, it's increased to 10 seconds. But for some reason he comes out of the pits and goes back down to 5. So he's served one of his speeding penalties while under the safety car. Now, here's the confusion. Now, obviously at this point Liam is my engineer, so he is talking through basically what we can and can't do, and neither of us kind of know what to do, because obviously a drive through is different to a pit stop, so you can't just turn around and say, box this lap because you'll just come in for tyres. Unfortunately, we do try and do the drive-through. Unfortunately, it doesn't quite work. It's one of them. Mum on chat is screaming her head off, like, no, don't do it until they tell you. I was like, do I do it? Do I not? But like I said, the confusion is because Yav came in and served one of his penalties. It was a thing of, do I not? At this point, I'm thinking, shall I, shan't I? And I do. I do really go over the white line, but never mind. Because obviously the speed and no blue line, I do get a 5 second on top of the drive-through, I must add. And I come and change tyres. Unfortunately, this is a 20-second pit stop that I didn't really need. So yeah, it's a case of whatever you do, don't do a drive-through, or don't try and do a drive-through penalty. Don't serve it while under the safety car. It doesn't work. End of the safety car then, and managed to catch up to the rest of the pack. I still do have my drive-through to do, obviously, because this is the same safety car. I did, however, have to come on to used mediums. So these are the ones that I came in at when I had to change my front wing. So these are the ones that got took off then. Now, we go green on lap 24, obviously still 5th out of 5 of us. Yav in front still has one of his speeding penalties still to serve, and I still have my drive-through. Now, a little bit of interesting shenanigans there with Iconic. Not quite sure what happened. He ends up ghosting. Yellow flags turned up at some point, so something must have happened. So it's a case of, I think at that point it's he tried to go on the inside of somebody and ended up coming out worse, because he ended up going in with too much speed, overshot the corner and spun it basically. So that's why he is now behind us. The thing is, at this point, obviously, I have a drive-through to do, so there's no point really in battling this guy. As it comes up, I can now serve my drive-through. Lesson learned, don't come in before it tells you. So I do come in, I do serve my drive-through, because my blue line has come up, and yeah, it's an interesting format. I've never had to do a drive-through before, I don't think. I made sure that I didn't get another 5-second penalty. That will get added to the end more than likely, because I don't see the point of trying to waste a pit stop just so that I can serve my 5 second, because you'll lose like 25 seconds in a pit stop anyway. So all in all, you'll end up losing 30 seconds for the sake of just 5 seconds being added on at the end. So anyway, we come out of the pits from our drive-through. Yav came in for softs, guessing he's trying to go for the fastest lap, and to take that off of Toppy. Clearly both of us still with 5 seconds, so I'm guessing he must have got another speed in, because it was 5 seconds before he went into the pits and it's still 5 seconds after. So not quite sure what happened there, unless he did get another penalty. But anyway, near the end of the race, lap 25, almost on 26, and we're P4. Coming up to the end of lap 25 then, and I don't know if you can quite see at the bottom on the minimap, but Yav has retired. It seems like he was a little bit behind me, and he may have just gone straight into the wall. I'm not sure. I'm just purely going off of the minimap and that the little red dot has stopped. He's also left the session. Maybe a rage quit. Not quite sure on that one. But that makes it, there's only 4 of us with 2 laps to go. Not gonna, you know, shout too much, but could I potentially get a podium here? Because if you look at the minimap, first, second and third are really close to each other. If any of them take each other out, I could potentially end up with my first league podium. Obviously, a little race of my own at the minute. So it's one of them. I'm not too worried about my race. I am P4. Yes, I have a 5 second. Obviously, the 5 second plus the drive through and the other potential hiccup drive through that was an extra pit stop by accident, turns out all that can just be forgotten about, because none of that, I don't think, would have mattered. Yeah, obviously Iconic is 32 seconds in front, pit stop is about 25 I think here, but I'm not in contention with how quick Iconic got past me when he spun, ended up behind me. With how quick he went past me, there's no chance that I would have been able to keep up. So it's one of them. I don't beat myself up about basically all the little hiccups I've had during this race. I am just pleased that I've made it on to my last lap. They may be quite a way in front. Obviously, I did get lapped quite early on in this race. But obviously because of the safety car, I managed to go past the safety car twice, so I did manage to unlap myself, which I'm quite happy about. So I do the full quota of 27 laps. It's been an interesting race. Unfortunately, Liam retired on lap 1, which is very, very unfortunate, because he basically needs like 6th, like better than 6th to be able to beat Keelan in the driver standings. So obviously in retirement doesn't help that. He still does, we've only got 2 races left, and he does need a 6th position in both of them to still do that, so it's still possible. But yeah, it's been an interesting race. P4 as we come round the last few corners. Obviously everybody now watching me because I'm the only one left. So yeah, pressure probably on the last few corners, knowing that everyone's literally waiting for me to finish. But yes, I finished P4. Unfortunately, Toppy gets the driver of the day. I reckon I probably deserved it, but that is game based. So yes, Red Bull on the podium, closely followed by the Alfa Romeo and the Mercedes. So obviously I'm not on there. A bit unfortunate that I'm the only one not on there, because I still finished. I was the only other person apart from these 3 to finish. Maybe in future races, maybe. Final classifications then, and yes, Ninjas, the Red Bull, came top, followed by Toppy, and then followed by Iconic. So a Toppy with the fastest lap and driver of the day, so an extra 2 points for him, and I come 4th. So that will be 12 points. Not quite sure how I managed it. Could have been very lethal with that little kiss on the wall, damn them sausage curbs, but 12 points nonetheless. So quite a few DNFs. Yav does get points because obviously 90%, and he managed to get within the 90%, so he still classifies even though he did technically DNF. But obviously the game works exactly how real life works, and like that 90% would be 25 laps, so obviously he made it further than that, so he still classifies. So guys, that was a very hectic and interesting Russia. My first experience of this track. Interesting because obviously a lot of people DNF'd, mainly I think because of like lag or glitches within the game. Obviously we were a bit apprehensive to start this new game, but it's a case of you don't know until you try, and it seems like only 4 of us managed to finish, so I'm not sure on how many would be game related and how many would be a fact of their misfortune, but nevertheless I managed to keep all 4 wheels on the track, minus my front wing going into the wall, but it doesn't matter. And all them pit stops and drive-throughs and fake drive-throughs mean absolute nothing now, because I managed 4th. I got 12 points for the team, which means we do now jump ahead of Williams in the championship. And yeah, on to Mexico, which is the next race. An interesting track again. Most of these are interesting for me because I don't get to do many of them. I like start the season in the game, and then sort of halfway through I sort of get to sort of Monaco, and then that's about it. So anything after that is basically new territory for me. So we'll see how Mexico goes. But anyway guys, if you like this video, please leave a like rating. If you're new around here, if you could subscribe as well, that would be even better. Next to the subscribe button is a little notification bell. If you click that, that'll let you know when I upload. So guys, hopefully I will see you later on today for the Mexico race, and then I will see you lunchtime ish on Monday for some more Star Wars, and then a new video of something going up on Monday night. So hopefully I can see you in one of them guys. Bye.